Today I'm going to be showing you step by step of how to make a Pauldarium. Step 1, the background. What I'm going to be using for my background is spiderwood, plant pots for the plants to sit in, and cork bark for texture on the background. Also, you'll need silicone, spray foam, and insulation foam board. The first step to making the background is spray foaming it.
A few moments later.
Make sure to put the wood and cork bark in the position you want it to be before you start spray foaming it. Once you are done spray foaming, put the plant pots into the positions you want it to be. Once the foam is fully cured, place more foam over the pots so it could have a cool texture. Next, take your time figuring out where the best place to put your cork bark is. After the foam is finally cured, use a razor blade or kitchen knife to cut all the foam so it has a rough texture so the silicone can stick onto. Once you are finished cutting the foam, place silicone onto the background and spread it around, and then put soil or dirt onto the silicone. Make sure to pat down the soil after you place it onto the silicone.
Three days later.
After a couple days, this is what it'll turn out to look like. Next, place silicone all over the background and then get a terrarium to place it into. I will be using the skyscraper terrarium from Zubed. I used weights to hold down the background onto the terrarium so that the background wouldn't bend. After a couple of days, I removed the weights and now it was time to add moss. Some of the moss I will be using is sheet moss, sphagnum moss, terrarium moss, and more. I will start off by placing sheet moss all around the terrarium. I will be using super glue to glue them all down. While I was making the background, I elbowed the door and it fell off and shattered into a bunch of pieces. $60 later, and this is how it turned out. Step 2. Substrate. Some supplies I will be using is filter foam, rocks, plants, a filter/pump, Repti soil, and gravel. The first part of the ground layer is placing the foam in between the middle of the ground so the water could be on one side and the substrate could be on the other. The rocks I was gonna use were too big, so I went outside, grabbed a hammer, and smashed them into halves. Next, I added lava rock to the back. Next, I placed window mesh over the lava rocks so no substrate would get into the water. After, I started placing soil all over the window mesh. Once I was done, I added gravel into the water area. Once I was done, I started filling the water part up with water. After that, I started planting a bunch of aquarium plants in the water. Later, I will be adding cherry shrimp and snails. Step 3. Plants. But first, I had to go get some. Some of the plants I will be using are pothos, ferns, spider plants, bromeliads, and more. Now it's time to start planting the plants. These were the final results.